Obviously, we know what the sound science is in terms of oil and gas production, horizontal drilling, hydrofracking. Certainly, if you run into those folks who are just not confident because they don't know, this is new to them, invite them to the Allegheny National Forest. Okay. You know, it was an oil and gas, it was not just timber rich, and we have some of the best timber. We're real proud of the timber that's there. That's why we need good management. We don't want to lose that hardwood cherry to something else. It's one of the most, I understand, despite its size, it's one of the most profitable forests for the Forest Service in the country.
Yes, it is.
But it was an oil and gas field as well, those that exist concurrently, as well as all other multiple uses. And so I want to help make your job easier. So if you get those doubters, they want to come visit the Allegheny National Forest, I'll be glad to join them in the forest. We can. Anytime I can get the time to spend in the A&F is a good day for me. So I just extend that as a resource for you, because it's not a matter of may have or possibly can be done. It's let's not talk about it in terms of speculation, because we've been doing it for decades in the Allegheny National Forest, and you can't find a more beautiful place to. I'm a little biased, obviously, to visit and to spend time. I know that one of the biggest problems we have, and this is my opinion, I'm not expecting you to go on the record with this and weigh in on it. I do have a follow-up question I'm looking for an answer from. You know, the biggest problems we have, the biggest threats that we have to unhealthy forests and therefore unhealthy rural economies, rural communities, are the lawsuits by environmental groups. They've had environmental groups, unfortunately, have had a completely contradictory outcome on our national forests with all the actions and the lawsuits that they filed. They've actually created unhealthy forests, because I know that that has really stood in the way of a lot of the management practices the Forest Service knows that are based on sound science to keep our forests healthy and therefore our rural economies. As a part of that, the federal government, in a broader sense, has contributed to that. We've allowed the Equal Access to Justice Act to be abused. You know, that was originally designed to help those who have a stake in the game. You know, those folks who are property owners, where the federal government was impinging upon their rights, their property. Obviously the federal government's got the resources of every pocket of every taxpayer in this country. It's deep, rather, a lot of pockets, maybe not so deep, but a lot of them. And that's why the Equal Access to Justice Act was created. It's been hijacked, I believe, by groups who now use it to fund very specific their purposes and missions and they're not key stakeholders. They don't have direct interests in terms of ownership of properties. Do we know how much money the Forest Service has paid from agency budgets in attorney fees? And not just our agency, I know, not just the Forest Service, I know the Justice Department gets involved with this. They have a lot of lawyers over there. But do we have any idea of how much has been paid in attorney's fees through the Equal Access to Justice Act in the last 5 years to environmental groups dealing with grazing decisions or, quite frankly, forest decisions? I know we were into a battle that there was that I think after 3 appeals by the Forest Service and others, I hope they finally have given up on in terms of infringing on the subsurface property owners' rights up in the Allegheny National Forest.
So, Mr. Chairman, I can tell you what the Forest Service has paid out in the EJA fees, and it averages about $1.2 million a year. We can actually provide you for the last 5 years.
That'd be great.
I don't have the information from the Department of Justice, but we can provide that. But that's on average. It's been about $1.2 million. For me, the solution is our collaborative efforts, because I tell you, I've just seen time after time where the people that, because of their concerns, would turn to litigation. Those same people today are sitting at the table working with industry, working with county commissioners, to find ways for us to be able to move forward. And I tell you, that's what we're going to continue to focus on. And the more that we can do there and reduce, some of these conflicts, the better off all of us are.
Right. Well, one of the indicators, measurements to monitor that is to see if that 1.2 million decreases at all. I hope it does.